You said say it in the chat. That's great. Okay. Thank you very much. We are going to go right on into our meeting. Okay, our speaker this morning is the owner and operator of CertaPro Painters of League City. He and his wife Lisa opened the business in April 2014. Since that small start, the business has grown to 6 staff members and 5 painting crews supporting 17 painters and lots of families. He's been in sales management, and sales consulting since the last century. He began his career in the financial services industry, created a sales training consulting business in the 1990s, and then recruited to the consumer services industry, where he managed offices of as many as 75 people in 2 states and 6 cities. Thus, through a quick thought-adjusting hour and helping us to discover answers to some very, very important questions. Why do we go to networking events? You're at a networking event. Who are you looking for? The networking event's now over. What do you do? When do you take the next step? Please put your hands together and welcome our speaker this morning, Scott Blair with CertaPro Painters of League City.
Hey, good morning to everyone. Let's jump across the technology hurdle first, all right? If you are not talking, mute yourself. So I should see a whole lot of red microphones. That just helps everyone else with background noise. Not that we don't want to hear from you, but let's make it as simple as possible up front. Second thing, if you're working on a spreadsheet, if you're updating your LinkedIn account, if you're making your to-do list for today, set that aside. I thought I had an hour. I don't. Looks like I've got about 19 and a half minutes, so we're going to rock and roll. If you are driving, drive. We'll catch up with you a little bit later if that is the case. All right, for just a brief moment, let me tell you about me. I've learned through the years that as a speaker, there are a couple of things that have to happen. In the old days, you had to show up with a tie and you had to be from out of town in order to be an expert. I am not from out of town, and I don't even really actually ever wear a tie. But I want to tell you this. This is not my first rodeo, all right? I have done this before. I'm sure I will do this again. So what I want you to do is climb up in that saddle with me and get ready to go. Second thing, in honor of so many of our banker friends, I'm going to channel my George Banks look. Where's Sherry, my Mary Poppins fan, right? If you're a banker and you have a hat that looks like George Banks, wave. If you don't, I'm not surprised. All right, here we go. Most people simply know me more often, kind of like the guy in the big yellow hat and Curious George. This is the way you normally see me, so this is the way I'm going to be on here today. I'm going to share my screen. We're going to go fast. We're going to go furious. And all I got to do is find it. All right, if you can see that, just give me a thumbs up. Ava, where'd you go? All right, somebody.
Here I am. Here I am.
We're good.
Here I am.
All right. So what's this all about? What is this networking thing all about? I want to admit right up front, it is way different than it was last year at the Christmas party you went to, right? It's a different thing these days. I'm going to integrate a little bit of what's old and a little bit of what's new, and let's see if we can't find a way to make this work for you. You know, networking really is about cultivating relationships, right? It is mutually beneficial, it's a give and a take, and it's a win-win. Now, if you've read any business books over the years, you've always heard about a win-win-win, and we're going to come back to that in just a minute. But right now, keep this in mind. What we are looking for is the opportunity to build a relationship. We're not looking for a transaction. If I meet you, I will gladly work with you, but what I am most interested in is everyone you know who can work with me. You see, our relationship is not dependent on each other. I've got other customers, you have other customers. We don't work independently of each other because we are in this together. Several years ago, there was an advertisement that was on TV. I think it was actually a shampoo company, and these folks would wash their hair and it turned out beautifully, and they would say, and I told two people, and I told two people, and I told two people. Anybody remember that commercial? It was sort of a crazy sort of thing, but it hit right to the point, right? We are independent on each other. Anybody got an idea of another way to say that? I do. I'll scratch my back, you scratch yours, or you scratch mine, I'll scratch yours. Anybody, you can put those together, because as we network, I'm looking for an opportunity to develop a marketing net that I can cast much more broadly. Basic concept. People do business with and refer business to people they know, people they like, and people they trust. And if we can successfully keep this concept in mind, then we can tack on that third win to the win, win, win. I win because I know you and you refer me to someone. The person that you referred wins because now they have a good service provider. You win because you are seen as a very important center of influence. And if you refer someone to me, I can just bet you I'm going to refer someone to you. So the critical concept in all of this networking, it's not just what you know, right? Because everybody in the room here knows a lot about what they do. And it isn't just who you know, because I've met lots of people who know lots of people, but they don't really know anything. It's who you know, who knows you, and what you do. Now, that's a mouthful of words, but what that really means is, what can my network really do for me? We all have a sphere of influence. That's probably somewhere between 150 and 250 people. The sphere of influence is a group of people where you can influence or affect the outcome of what they do. Now, this is not likes. This is not followers. This is not people who appear in your friends list on any social media. These are people where you can actually integrate with, share opinions, and move the dial. All right. I've got a link there to a really great article about sharing about your sphere of influence. I think Tay's going to send a copy of this out, and you can follow that link. It's a great, great article. All right, so let's talk about what we're really going to do. Let's move into all of that. I think it's really important that we all have a personal benefit statement for networking purposes. Now, you got to kind of stick with me on this because a personal benefit statement is not your elevator speech. I find most people's elevator speech gets a little bit too deep to be particularly effective in those large networking environments. Even as we sit in a Zoom meeting with 20 or 30 or 40 other people and we consider how we're going to network there, we need something shorter, more succinct, and more descriptive, as opposed to that 30 or 60-second elevator speech. It should be no more than 7 seconds, 7 words in a really active, busy time. That's about someone's attention span. Describe what you do and how that benefits someone else. You know, it may sound something like, well, hi, I'm Scott with CertaPro Painters. I show people how to, or I help people to. Fill in the blank for whatever your business is. Because during a networking event, whether it's in person or whether it is online, I need to be able to hold your attention and leave you saying, what more is there? I'm sure all of you have a personal benefit statement, right? So we went around the room when Ava first started this and we introduced ourselves. So here's what we're going to do for the next, probably 4 minutes or so, 5 minutes. Tay is going to randomly assign us to small groups, small rooms. And the people that you are in the room with, I want you to throw your first personal benefit statement. 7 words. I show people how. I help people. Oh boy, look at that. Ava's already got it working right there. She's taking off her shoes and socks and trying to figure out how to do some algebra, right? All right, Tay, you want to hit the launch button? Everybody share your personal benefit statement with everyone else in your small classroom. You got about 4 minutes.
You will get an invite on your little screen to join your breakout room, so make sure you click on that so you can join them.
All right, it looks like to me, based on head count, just about everybody is back. Real quick, 4-second, 5-second comment. How did that work for you? Somebody be brave. Come on.
Scott, I had Scott Stillman and Sherry Gaston, and they already had their pretty much 7 seconds to describe what they do. So I had pros already in my room.
Good for you, you ringer.
I
Anybody else? Anyone find that a little bit of struggle? You're used to saying a lot more.
Yes.
So what I told the folks what I've told the folks is you got to think about this, right? We're kind of advertising. If we ever get back to a real world and you walk into a room and there's 40 or 50 or 60 or 100 people, right? And you have your typical 30-second, 60-second elevator speech, you're going to really have trouble working the crowd, right? You really, really are. So this is sort of like, you know, I can't afford the 1-minute commercial at the Super Bowl, but I can afford the 10-second spot at the Super Bowl. And so that's really what, in reality, in terms of time that I have us to spend in a room, I can afford that really, really short one. All right, let's talk about why this is important, all right, and where we're going with this. All right. Give me a thumbs up if you see that, Ava. All right, there we go. All right, so here we go. Let's go to the next step. We got to get into the zone. We got to get into a networking zone, right? And a lot of things have to happen that. And the first thing I want you to do is, before you hit the networking event, whether it's live, whether it's in person, no matter where it is. And here's the thing I'm going to talk about in just a second. Networking doesn't always have to be a formal affair, does it? No, it really doesn't. It doesn't have to be an event that says networking in the event. I want to tell you the truth. The best networker I know is in the room with us. That's my wife, Lisa. She meets people no matter where she goes. And she can tell me more about those people in just a few minutes than I will ever know. She is much better at this than I am. And she finds lots and lots of opportunities to network. She says, you know, if they want to talk to me, they might as well learn about painting. And I think that's the right attitude. So you're at the event to build your network, right? And your network, we know now, is your sphere of influence, your SOI. That's a really important concept to keep in place. All right. All right. Just some of my basic rules. Don't spend too much time catching up with old friends. All right. Who's guilty of that? All right. I haven't seen you in a while. Let me catch up with what's going on with you. Yep, we all are. I've already got a connection. You're already in my sphere of influence. If I really want to catch up, then that's a whole different dynamic. I need to give you a call. I need to grab a coffee with you. When you're at the event, say hello and move on. If it is a lunch event, how many of us are guilty at sitting at the table to have lunch with all the people we already know? Raise your hand. I'm not the only one, right? It's much more comfortable to do that. Crash a table where you don't know other people. Here's the basic question. Why did everyone else come to this event? To meet new people, right? Networking is a microcosm of public speaking. And we have all heard, right? The fear of public speaking is one of the greatest fears there is. So you need to be the bigger person. Help them get over their fear. Take the lead in the conversation. Sit at a table, crash the party. Don't be afraid to step into those closed groups. Here's the thing. We've all seen it. 2 or 3 people catching up with each other. I'm looking to enlarge my sphere of influence. I step in. Don't be afraid. You're not interrupting. They came to network too. But now, if I have a personal benefit statement that's only 7, 8, 9, 10 seconds long, and I step into this small group, I offer my personal benefit statement. I quickly read the mini room. How did they take to that? and then I can move on. I'm not anchoring them down. I'm not obligating to hearing my 60-second elevator speech. Make a little sense? Work the crowd. Be pleasant. Be pleasant. Be approachable. That's a big one. That is a really, really big one. And go meet someone new. You want to be seen as someone valuable to know. Introduce people you have met to other people who are in the room. I don't care if it's a virtual room or if it's a real room. Someone has to be the matchmaker there. Why not let it be you? Offer a card. Business cards really aren't that important anymore because everything is electronic. But if you offer a card and you ask for a card, now I have the contact information. Carry a Sharpie. Anybody want to know why I say that? You ever notice what most business cards look like these days? Where's my imprint guy? They're usually very slick, right? Hard to write on. Sharpie will write on anything. If I need to make a personal note, I can do it very quickly, very easily, right? Send the person a V card. I got to tell you, I saw one of the most professional sales maneuvers that I have seen in a long, long time over the weekend. We were furniture shopping, and the salesperson who was working with us after we'd had a brief conversation said, you know it's really hard to keep up with a business card, so why don't I just text you my contact information? Now, I made the offer. I'm going to make it easy on you. Oh, by the way, let me have your cell phone number. And how was it you spelled your last name? I thought that was absolutely brilliant. It was very easy on us because now we didn't have to keep up with the card. We didn't have to write anything down, but it was absolutely brilliant on the salesperson's part because now our cell phone number is in their cell phone book. I thought it was really great. All right, just a little tip to help you as you're working a room or working your crowd. Once you have met someone, pop back by a little bit later on and use the person's name. It's a great way to sort of ingrain in us who it is that we're talking to, but even more importantly, it's a great way for them to keep us in mind. All right, so here's the thing. Admit it, you got an attitude, right? Good, bad, or indifferent. You go to a networking event, you got some kind of attitude. We're going to break out in a room. It's going to be really small. And I want you to share with other people who are in your room, what do you do to get your mind set on having an effective networking event? Whether it's virtual, whether it's real, I don't care. What do you do to get your mind right, to get your head in the right space? Tay, break us out. We're going to go 4 minutes again. All right, looks like most everyone is back in. What I found out was that you need to have a pre-networking playlist. You need to check in with Julia Gallagher about that. That's how she psychs herself up. I haven't necessarily thought of that myself. I think that's a great idea, though. Something that sort of gets you in the place before you get to the place. So good deal. Good deal.
Me and Coach.
That's it. All right. So here we go. Okay, I'm in the room now. What am I going to do? Here's the thing. The room may not be a room. Opportunities can occur constantly. So this doesn't have to be a formalized event. It especially doesn't have to be a formalized networking event. I said this before, it doesn't have to have networking in the title. You want to invest 99% of your conversation asking about your new contact. It's not really so much about telling them about me. I want to know about them. Because if I get to know about them, I promise you, they're going to be much more appreciative of our relationship, right? So remember, you have a personal benefit statement. This is, once again, it's short. It's a quick way to determine, to engage, and determine where do we go with our next step. You know, sort of think about this. This is not your, here again, this statement is not your bio. It's not your LinkedIn profile. You know, it's more like your Instagram or your TikTok, if you will. So think about that just a minute. It is always much easier for people to talk about themselves if you let them. If you let them. And I emphasize that because not all of us are particularly good at drawing out the other person. Keep this in mind. Even if what you do interests them, turn the conversation back to your new contact. Ask several open-ended questions. These are feel-good questions. They help you to show a genuine interest. Don't probe, but build rapport. All right? It's kind of a fine line. Okay, what about virtual meeting rooms? What do we do with these? All right. I don't know. Some of these are just sort of observations I've had over lots of virtual meetings. You know, don't eat unless it's a lunch meeting. Make sure that the cat has the stun collar on so they don't walk across the keyboard. You know, the dog barking, all of that sort of stuff was cute when we first started it. I just feel like professionally we need to take this to the next level. Be a courteous virtualist. You know, make sure that your visual is pleasing. Make sure your sound is right. Don't dial in on the phone and leave the microphone on the computer open. We kind of experienced that a little bit earlier in this meeting. Make others feel good. There is always that awkward silence. We all experienced this when this meeting started. We're kind of waiting and we're kind of going, I thought this was 9 o'clock, it's 9:05. There's some people in the room, there's others that aren't in the room, all right? Give other people time, give other people your attention, give them an opportunity to talk about themselves. When you break out into small groups in a virtual surrounding, which we see more and more of that, talk in the small groups. Don't be a fly on the wall. Don't be afraid to engage, but at the same time, don't commandeer the room. And by all means, smile. It goes a long way towards making the other people feel good about what we're doing. Here's some questions that I have found sort of effective over the years. How'd you get started in the 8-track business? Don't ask that exact question. You're going to date yourself, someone like me. Ava said I'd been at this since the last century. It's actually the last millennium, so in any event. I don't have to read these questions. You can look at these and you're going to get a copy of these, the copy of the presentation. But what I want you to notice is that these questions are about the other person. I think the last one is really, really important when you're networking. Networking is about building a sphere of influence. That's what you're doing. That's also what the other person is doing, whether they realize it or not. And just like I am trying to hire you to be on my sales staff by becoming part of my sphere of influence, so is the person across the table from me. Great question, I think. How can I know if someone I'm talking to is a good prospect for you? Let that sink in a minute. How can I help you? How can I help you? We're going to skip this breakout. We got cut just a little bit short, but let's go to the last of this. I met a lot of people. Now what do I do? All right. Follow up, follow up, follow up. Yes, I'm yelling. It's in all caps. How many of you have been to a networking event? And I can't actually see a raise of hands from everyone who is here. Well, I guess I can if I do this. How many of you have been to a networking event and then within a few days after the event received a follow-up from someone you met? Raise your hand. Just raise a hand. I'm looking. Raise a hand. Raise a hand. Okay, so now here's an even harder question. How many of you have been to a networking event and you have followed up within a few days with someone you met? We got a few more hands. We still don't have everyone's hands. All right. I find it to be a really mixed bag across the board, not the survey I just took, but reality. All right. Let me just throw out some ideas for you. Oh my goodness, look at that. Just did the wrong thing. Let me throw out some ideas for you in terms of follow-up, if we can get this back.
Left arrow.
Left, there we go. There's always a technical problem. There we go. All right, some things that I have really just stumbled on lately in terms of following up. Does anybody sometime get more emails than you really want to deal with during the day? Anybody? Yeah. Do you ever get an email that you don't actually see till hours or maybe even a day or two after it was important? Do you think anyone you send an email to doesn't necessarily see it because it's buried? I don't know if people don't see emails anymore or if it has just become okay not to respond to emails. I'm not sure. And I don't know that I want to invest the time to figure that out. But let me just throw something out. How many people, when was the last time you received a personal thank you card in the mail? When was the last time you received a personal thank you card in the mail? Think about that. When was
Yesterday.
that? Yesterday. Did you set it aside and like not open it until today? You already opened it. Do you have any emails from yesterday you haven't opened yet? That's a tough question because I don't know the answer. I do. I've got some emails I haven't opened. But I opened all the mail from yesterday. What if you did an old-fashioned thing and sent a thank you card or just a note that said, hey, I was delighted to meet you? Crazy idea, a little something old, maybe new again. How do we cut through the noise? Does anybody feel like email has become deafening? I do sometimes. Anybody know this website, bomb.com? We'll come back to that in just a minute. some of the things that I have come across lately. There actually is a company up on Bay Area called Tiff's Treats. They'll send out cookies, and in a contactless world, they actually have a corporate account. It's sort of like Amazon Prime, except it's Cookie Prime, no delivery cost. Interesting idea for a really key contact. Novel drop-offs. Let me just show you some of ours. This is a fun one we did several years ago. Where's my camera? This is a box. We used to fill it with candy, had our contact information right on it. We'd drop it off, especially for our commercial contacts. This one's, I don't know, some people say this one's a little creepy, but we send this out. It's a foot. We send a card that says, just trying to get my foot in the door. I know, it's a little creepy. Here's our latest, most fun one. It's a paint can. And the good thing about this, we fill it with candy. And I promise you, no one takes it off their desk. So when we drop back by to refill their candy, the can's always there. This is really good for our commercial contacts. Right? Something old, kind of new again, send people things they don't see before. We all get bombarded with lots of information. Do something a little old-fashioned. Cut out an article, reprint an article. You know, don't send non-vetted opinion blogs or reposts. Get a subscription to the Houston Chronicle, the Houston Business Journal, Community Newses. Put it in a note card and send it to someone. Wow, it's really kind of an amazing, amazing thing. All right, we're out of time. Sorry about that. I think we got a little started a little bit later. Here's what I want to do because I want to get everyone out. You're going to get a copy of this, my email. If you got a question about networking, if you want to talk about networking, if you want to network, send me an email. My phone number will be in there. I have enjoyed doing this. I always enjoy doing this. It's a lot of fun. It makes me kind of sharpen my axe a little bit. And as I go to put these PowerPoints together, it always reminds me of some of the things that I'm not doing. So thank you all for putting me to task. I really do appreciate that. And with that, I'm going to turn this back over to Ava. I'm done.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you. That was amazing. As many years as I've been doing it into the last century, learned a lot of new things today. So thank you so much. And at this time, we're about to adjourn. But Montea, you want to tell us about some upcoming events?
Sure. We have a bunch of upcoming fun events for you all. Make sure you go onto our website, onto our online calendar, and you RSVP and check out all the different events. Next week, next Thursday, the 10th, we are having our speed networking. It's going to be virtual, so make sure you prepare your 2 minutes. I'm not going to call it an elevator pitch anymore because Scott has taught us so much more than that, but prepare something for yourself. And we're going to be having breakout room sessions like this, similar to this. It'll be from 3:30 until about 5. So we're really excited for that. So make sure you go and sign up for that. We are also going to be doing our coffee break catch up. We'll be bringing that back on the 11th at 9:30. It's just another networking thing for that little break you have after you've started work, but now you need a cup of coffee after you come into work. So it's from 9:30 until 10. And Jenny, do you want to say a couple things about membership campaign?
No, that's perfect. So just so you guys know, we did extend our membership campaign. So if you're talking to anyone who might be interested in joining, we'll waive the $25 application fee through the 10th. And then we'll be doing some fun stuff with prize drawings for all those new members as they get on board. But yeah, let us know, reach out if you have any questions about membership, or we'll be there to help.
Thank you, everybody, for coming. And it wasn't on here, but it is on there. Thank you very much. Montea. Toastmasters meets via Zoom every Friday, 8 to 9 o'clock. We'd love to have you as a guest before you join as a member. Just reach out to the chamber, myself, anyone that's in Toastmasters, and we'll give you the Zoom information. Again, Friday mornings, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. Thank you so much for coming. We really, really appreciate it. Scott, that was fantastic, amazing. And we hope to see you on Thursday, September the 10th at the virtual speed networking with our 7 to 9 word personal benefit statement. Thank you. Bye.